Deepwater Horizon Macondo blowout. This occurred April 20th, 2010 by Zach Copeland. What is Deepwater Horizon? Deepwater Horizon was a mobile offshore drilling rig. It measured 396 feet by 256 feet. It could house up to 146 people. Deepwater Horizon used a global satellite positioning technology and thruster system to stay in place. It did not use a cable and anchor system. This was an advanced oil rig. Deepwater Horizon was capable of drilling down 700 or 7,500 feet plus. The crew at the time of the accident, there was 126 people aboard. Between these people, there was 13 different companies. The explosion led to 11 deaths and injuring 17 people. Where did this happen? The Deepwater Horizon oil rig was located about 50 miles southwest of Venice, Louisiana, in the Gulf of Mexico. Shown here in this map shows a clear representation of where this oil rig was at. What happened? At the time, the crew was completing a temporary abandonment. They did this so that the gap of time between Transocean digging the well and the production facility that would later come in and extract the oil and gas could be left in a safe condition. Abandonment activities are basically plugging the well to keep hydrocarbons, gas, and oil below the sea floor. A well can be plugged with a cement barrier, which is easier to access for the next group to use, or the well could be plugged back up with drilling mud. When the drilling mud was removed, the cement barrier was put in its place to act as the well's primary barrier. There was a misinterpreted test that led technicians to believe that the barrier was properly placed. Due to the misplaced cement barrier, it was allowing hydrocarbons to leak up into the oil rig. There is a safeguard in place, but it is completely contingent on human detection of the kick to close the blowout preventer. The blowout preventer would act as a barrier to keep hydrocarbons, gas, and oil back. Due to the lack of human detection, hydrocarbons were flowing into the oil rig undetected for almost an hour. Eventually, oil and gas forced itself onto the rig, passing the blowout preventer, and there was a slight spark somewhere that caught the gas, and a violent explosion occurred. Here is some pictures of the oil rig after the explosion or during the explosion. The effects of the spill: 4 million barrels of oil flowed from the Macondo well and into the Gulf of Mexico. It spilled out for 87 days after the explosion. The well was finally capped on July 15, 2010. Here are some pictures of the effects. Wildlife was heavily affected from this spill of oil. On the analysis of investigation, there were 4 complete volumes of analysis. Over 550 pages were produced from this one accident. The accident occurred on April 20th, 2010, but the final report was given April 20th, 2016. It was an ongoing investigation for 6 years. From the investigation analysis, there was found to be several issues with things that failed, namely equipment, safety equipment, human causal factors, and not thorough enough testing. Recommendations. The things that I would recommend would be testing of barrier caps need to be more thorough. Simply moving the drilling mud and placing a cement barrier on top is not enough. There needs to be more testing. Replace the blowout preventer. It needs to be placed in the proper place with a sensor and not solely dependent on a human reaction. There needs to be a contingency plan in place for incidents like this to cap the well faster than 87 days. These are the recommendations that I would make. These are the citations